that. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to One Last Dragon. We're talking about Smoke Pit Fairy Tales 2 with John Q. Haskell, who was so kind to lend me his voice for a couple of characters. Like you played the engineer dude, Marksky.
Love engineers, by the way.
Yeah. Fuck. I should have looked this up beforehand, but you played like 4 or 5 fucking dudes and
yeah. And then I play. Don't know if we should say. Should we say who I play in number 3?
Yeah, you play Ivy in the 3rd one, but I mean,
yes.
we don't. That doesn't premiere for 2 more weeks, so
exactly.
they can wait. They can wait. But yeah, fucking Haskell's our resident fucking Canuck. So greetings to the Great White North. Fucking, I think you're the only Canadian we have on board. We got a few Brits.
I'm drinking Coca-Cola tonight because because I'm the epitome of good health and have a broken body at 25. But you know.
It's nice to know that the American military and the Canadian military is not too different. Though before we were live, we were about to talk about shitty cold weather training, and I would like to know what the Canadian version of cold is, because like our cold weather training, like, I mean, we've done some shit. Like we do some shit. Like we got NWTC Bridgeport, which is all like high altitude, freeze your balls off training, and then like I did some cold weather training in South Korea, which sucked. Don't go there. I mean. You can go to South Korea. Just make sure to go on vacation.
Don't go with the army.
Not for training.
Yeah, but Canadian. So there are 2 courses, and they just renamed them because the army loves to rename courses because someone needs an AARP point. So the courses now are called the Cold Weather Operator and Cold Weather Instructor courses. And I was a assistant on the cold weather instructor course, just helping out, setting up tents, stuff like that.
Yeah, just the admin shit. Just the admin shit.
Exactly, doing corporal stuff because corporals do all the manual labor of the Canadian Armed Forces.
Although, isn't your guys' corporal different than ours? Because like ours, like you can get there in 2 or 3 years, but like isn't corporal for you kind of like sergeant for us?
Corporal you get after 4 years of regular force service or 2 years of reserve. So it's like the Lance Corporal. Our corporal is like your Lance Corporal.
Oh, okay, the other way around. Okay, all right.
Yeah, and then our Master Corporal is your Corporal.
Ah, that's a fun name. Do you call them Master Corporal, or you just call them Corporals too?
No, we call them either Master Corporals or Jacks.
Okay.
Don't know why. I don't know who came up with calling them Jacks. But
Jack's a English thing. Like the Australians and the New Zealanders and all them call everybody Jack too. Like just walk around. Like I know in the Australian military they call their Lance Corporal Lance Jacks.
Yeah. I've never met an Australian military person, so I wouldn't know that. But
they're fun. Well, and they don't have service limitations like we do. So, like, if you want to be a private for fucking 20 years, like, you can just do that over there. So, like, a lot of the dudes I worked with, they're like 40-year-old privates. And it's like, hey, man, don't you want to get promoted? And he's like, no. Why the fuck would I want to get promoted? Like, all right, man.
I have met I know a guy. He is now 50-something. He's in his 50s. Corporal Dixon. That man has been... He joined the reserves, got out, and then rejoined the reserves. And the man has been a corporal now for a fair bit. But the man's a legend at the unit, and he's just been in forever. Got out, did a whole bunch of cool stuff, and then dropped back in. And then everyone's like, "Hey, don't you want to get like Master Corporal or Sergeant?" He's like, "Nah, I figure I got like 5 years left in the military. I don't want to get promoted."
Yeah. So what do you guys do differently fucking for cold weather training though? Like also real quick, like as a Canadian, not as someone in the Canadian military, but as a Canadian, what do you consider cold?
So we're going to use standard measurements, not freedom measurements, because that's what I use.
Yeah.
And what 99.9% of the world uses, sorry.
Yeah.
But so 20 degrees is considered, summer weather. 10 is like spring. 0 is like freezing.
Right.
So that's like maybe November weather.
Right.
Then December gets down to like -10. -20, you're getting pretty cold. -30, that's where you kind of lose me. But when I was out helping out with the cold weather stuff, it got down to, we were in Canadian Forces Base Shiloh, which is out in Manitoba, and it got down to, I think the coldest was negative 45, which I would go outside for like 5 minutes and my beard would freeze.
Yeah, no, and it's kind of funny that you said like negative 20 was like kind of cold, because like negative 20 or negative 28 Celsius is negative 20 Fahrenheit. So like that's it's just fucking cold, man, and that's just kind of cold. All right, I just wanted to know what metric we're working with first.
Yeah, no. Typically in the winter in Canada, well, actually this winter we've had it pretty mild. It only got down to negative 10.
That's not bad.
I think that was on the coldest days. It was like negative 10, which isn't terrible, but the year before that, so that would be 2022. 2022, it got down to like negative 20. So, yeah,
that's fucking cold. Like because freezing isn't really that cold. Like you put on a jacket and a hat, you're fine. You know?
Yeah, you put on a flannel and you're good to go.
Yeah. So like once you get into like way nags, it's like, whoa, hey man, turn the sun back on.
Yeah. When I was doing the cold weather operator stuff, it was mostly just teaching people how to survive in Arctic conditions. So what that course is I don't know how much I can say, but it's 2 weeks in Manitoba and CFB Shiloh. And then I think it's another 4 weeks up in the most northern part of Canada.
Okay. All right.
Which gets down to like minus 50.
Yeah, so, no, fuck that noise. Like that's like in the Arctic Circle though, right?
Yeah. That's in the Arctic Circle. So you're learning how to survive and operate in that type of weather. So if some countries, and we all know which countries we're thinking of, tend to come in from the north, it's like, oh, we fought in this weather before. We know how to do this.
Yeah, no, that's always like the thing I chuckle at the most when people do all right, if other country was going to invade America, first they'd have to take Canada. And it's like, okay, so we don't actually have to worry about anyone invading us then, right? Because like, good luck with step one.
Good luck with coming. If you're coming from the north, you gotta deal with the cold. You're coming from the south, you gotta deal with the army. So
the other thing though too is like, fucking I've never been to Canada, but I've known some Canadians. The tamer Canadians are all like Florida man light.
Yeah.
So much. It's like, all right. I mean, I don't know if you guys call them rednecks, but I mean that's kind of what I think.
No, we call them Albertans.
Albertans, okay.
Yeah, Alberta is our Alberta, Manitoba, the prairies. That's our Texas.
Yeah, it's weird that there's prairies up there too, because like in my head, I think prairie, and it's like, okay, so that's warm, right? Right? No.
That's
sure you don't mean tundra.
No, that is some of the coldest part of Canada, lower than the Arctic Circle, and it sucks. And I never want to go there with the military. So,
no, that doesn't sound like it'd be a good time.
Yeah.
No, like we were doing this cold weather shit in Korea, and fucking it was, I think it was in February, but it was a warm year. So what it would do is it would snow all night, and then around noon, all the snow would melt, so we'd just be in mud.
Yep.
But the next day we'd come out, and all the divots we left, from running in the mud and fucking around in it would all still be there, but the snow would just look flat. So you'd step in it thinking it was flat, but it'd be powdery, and you'd break your fucking ankle like every time you took a step. It fucking sucked.
There's a base in Canada called CFB Meaford that is notorious for stuff like that, because that's where we do all the armored stuff. So, in the winter, you'll get, or even in the spring, you'll get, tanks going through the mud and stuff. And then when the winter hits, all the tank ruts freeze over. So then when, you get an infantry group going through there, they're just breaking their ankles constantly because, well, it just sucks. Meaford and Shiloh are the two bases you don't want to go to in Canada just because the weather and the training area sucks.
Where are they at?
Meaford is in Ontario. I've been there once, but that was just for some administration stuff. And then Shiloh was where I did the cold weather stuff. Shiloh doesn't suck just because Shiloh sucks just because there's nothing to do there. Yeah. Like literally, and it's so flat. Like if you stand in the middle of the training area in Shiloh, you can see into the town that is about 10 kilometers outside of base.
Yeah, there's a similar situation with that Twin Palms because like it's out in the desert and people say there's nothing to do there, but I'll get back to that in a minute. But if you're out in the training areas, like if you're on the mountain, you can see fucking cities that are 20 miles away, just because of the fucking terrain and it's dark and there's not a whole lot of pollution. You can see the lights coming in, but everybody hates Twin Palms because they go there for training and then I don't know, go back to their home unit. And they're like, yay, I'm back in civilization. But being stationed at Twin Palms is fucking awesome because there's no one there to fuck with you. I mean, there are a few people, but no one really gives a shit. And then there's no traffic. There's nobody there. You're out in the middle of the fucking desert. And like Las Vegas and Los Angeles are both like 2 hours away. So it's like, I feel like going to Vegas for the weekend. All right. I don't know. I mean, this place is so terrible.
Yeah. Well, I have a buddy of mine, Ed. He's from the originally he joined up as in the one of the airborne units in Canada that's in one of the PPCLI, the Princess Patricia's Light Corps of Infantry. I don't know, Pitleys we call them. Yeah. And he was stationed on Shiloh for I think 3 years. He'll probably yell at me tomorrow if he's watching and say no. But yeah, he was just telling me stories like Shiloh is so you know how you guys have PXs on base?
Yeah.
We have CanXs, which is the Canadian exchange.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And that is Shiloh is the only CanX on a base that I've seen that will sell liter bottles of alcohol. Just liter bottle of rum. Okay. Like normally CanXs will sell maybe like wine or beer. That's the only place I've seen where it's like, yeah, we know you have nothing to do. Here's a liter of whiskey. Have fun.
Yeah,
the Canadian Armed Forces does not condone overindulgence of alcohol or driving. Do not drink and drive. Drink responsibly.
Yeah, no, that's something I think is funny about the differences in our branches because, like, what is it like in the Marines you get the post exchange, but in the Navy you get the naval exchange, and the Army and the Air Force have base exchanges. And I don't know if this is everywhere. This is just what I've seen. But Air Force and Army bases tend to have, like, if you go to the exchange, you can get beer or wine. There'll be another separate place on base for liquor, but it's like hidden somewhere. But like the Navy and the Marine Corps ones, it's like, all right, so here are your liquor aisles, and I guess you can have a little bit of beer too if you want. Fucking, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, Shiloh is literally all combat arms, so you got infantry, artillery, and armored.
It's a big fucking riot if you didn't have it.
Yeah. So it'd be like, yeah, what are we going to do? A whole bunch of 18 to 25-year-olds who just got in, think they're hard as nails, got the airborne unit there. What are they going to do? Half them have broken knees. Let's go party. Yeah.
Actually, speaking on that, before the thing, we were talking about your guys' Rangers and how they're different than ours. And there's a few things I can imagine because, like, in the States, you have like the Army Rangers, but then you have Park Rangers. So it's like you guys could be anywhere in between that. Yeah.
So in Canada, we have special forces, then tier 1 units, then tier 2 units, then reserve units. Mm-hmm. Special forces is, we got Joint Task Force 2, TANSOFCOM, 452 Hilo Squadron, or the Air Force one. I forget its name because Air Force. And I'm pretty sure the Navy has one, but Navy. And then below that is tier 1 units. So we have our ARCG unit, which is Arctic Operations. And then we have the Rangers, and that's the unit I'm part of. Below that is, as well as our airborne units. Below that, we just have your standard operational units, so infantry, engineers, things like that. And below that is reservists. So tier 1 units, like the Rangers, are specialized units that do mission that have a specific mission set out for them. The Rangers, ours is sovereignty patrols. Words are hard. So essentially, our mission is to patrol northern parts of Canada and ensure, and you be an early warning signal to be like, hey, I saw a plane that's not supposed to be there. What the hell is it doing here? And then
okay, so like more like traditional, what people think of as like Rangers.
Yeah.
Now, like Aragorn from Lord of the Rings. Like, no, I'm just out here in the wilderness looking for shit.
Yeah. Now, since we're not in wartime military, that's not really what the Rangers are used for. My group, the 3rd Canadian Range Patrol Group, we worked we worked a lot with the First Nations Indigenous communities in the northern part of Ontario, and we trained them, and then they would go out and do the sovereignty patrols as well as do ground search and rescue, which is like if someone say there's like a group of hunters that get lost up north, we would call up one of our communities and say, hey, these 3 guys got lost up north and they might freeze to death. If you don't go find them, go find them. So then the rangers that we trained go out there and say, okay, we know this area. They're probably in this area. They go out, find them, bring them back. And then they work a lot with the SARTECs, which are the Air Force Tier 1 unit, who are the search and rescue technicians.
Okay. Yeah, that's interesting because, like, for us down here, normally that would be like, I don't know, maybe like a state police type fucking responsibility. Like, I'm not saying, capability is the same, but just like, oh, somebody's lost in the woods. Yeah, send that guy.
Yeah.
Although, isn't most of Canada the fucking woods anyway? Like, don't all y'all live like around fucking?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And that's then why we, the local police forces or even the provincial police forces would be like, listen, the closest provincial police department is 3, maybe even 5 hours away by car, or like maybe even 5 hours away by plane ride because it's almost impossible.
Well, yeah, no, because Canada's like what? It's the second largest country on the planet by land.
Second largest behind Russia. Yeah.
Yeah, and if you go up like a little far north, like fucking, you look at population maps, and it's like, all right, there's one person per every 100 miles up here, and it's like, what the fuck is that? Bears? Is it bears? Keep the fucking bears away from me.
Yeah. That's also why the Rangers have a specific rifle. It's the only 308 rifle that's not a sniper rifle, considered a long distance rifle. Well, it's long distance, but it's not considered a sniper rifle.
It's for wildlife, not invaders.
Exactly. Yeah. We would never use it on an invading force.
Oh no, yeah, somebody's really gonna write you up for that. Like that's one of those funny things too about like what shit the Geneva Convention outlines. It's like, well, if somebody's falling in a parachute, you're not allowed to shoot them, and it's like, right. There's 1,000 dudes falling out of the sky. We're not just gonna.
No, we would never do that.
Out of the war. All right.
See, back before Canada joined World War I, there was no Geneva Convention. Afterwards, sorry.
No, and it's fucked up too because like nobody got together and was like, all right, so we gotta make a list of things that we don't think you should do. It was like, all right, here's all the shit the Canadians do. Don't do this again. You guys want some you guys want some foods? Oh, that one's a grenade. Sorry, buddy.
Sorry. Oh, trench raids are too brutal? Canadians are like, let's do it. Why not?
No, my fucking favorite one was it was in World War II, and so the Americans were going in, and we'd bomb factories, right? To like make sure the Germans could fucking build shit. And the Brits were like, well, you blew up their factory, but they could still work in their apartment. So the Brits would go blow up their apartment, and then they went to refugee camps, and the Canadians were like, guys, I got an idea.
Hear me out. Listen,
what if we bomb the refugee camp? It's like, Canada, chill out.
Listen,
you want to win the war or not? I don't know why I gave that accent. That was bad.
Nothing happened.
Yeah, no, but like then there was for a long time there was I heard something recently where this is like contested now, but for like a long time they gave credit to a Canadian dude for shooting down the Red Baron.
Yes, I feel like that is still the case. I know that there's the Canadians Joint Task Force 2 still holds the longest sniper shot in the world, and that one guy did it like 3 times consecutively on the same mission. Yeah, which is insane.
Yeah, didn't he bake the rounds or some shit? Like leave them out in the sun so the fucking I don't know if that's like real or an urban legend, but isn't it the story?
So what happened? Do you know what the damn it, I forget the guy's name. The Sean Ryan show. So the guy that was on that mission, one of the guys that was on that mission went on the Sean Ryan show. He talked about it. Didn't use any names or anything, but essentially what happened was they were just in this building and they were just laying down suppressing fire and stuff via sniper rounds. And so they see just 2 guys running between buildings and they're like, oh, just for fun, let's try and schwack these guys. They're like 3,000 miles away. They were 3 kilometers away.
Yeah.
So however far that is in miles.
I think it's about a mile and a half.
Yeah. So the one sniper's like, hey, let's just see if we can schwack these guys. Both snipers fire at the same time. One guy falls down. So then they're all like, ha! Can't believe we made that shot. Let's do it again. So the second guy runs across. Schwack. Both fire. Guy falls down again. They're like, ha! And then they did, and then another guy about a kilometer closer ran across and they killed him too.
Nice. Also, M in the comments, thanks for the love. I don't. There's a comment button up on the side if you press.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
This is dead, but it's early. Love this channel though. Aww.
Yeah. No. Fucking goddamn. Like one of my favorite ones though is goddamn Scotty from Star Trek. He was in Canadian Army. I think he was on Sword Beach. But like the reason like he always like has one hand to the side is because he got shot through the fucking hand.
Did he lose a finger?
Yeah. He got shot like 9 times or some shit. Well, actually, what the story is, he hits the beach. I think he's got 2 or 3 confirmed kills, and then I don't know if the guy behind him tripped or got shot, but for whatever reason, he squeezed the trigger, and Scotty got friendly fired like 8 or 9 times, and then that took him out of the war. But like also like, hey, dude, you're on Normandy for a few hours. That's cool.
Another, since we're on the topic of Canadian war heroes, Francis Pedramacabo, don't know if I'm saying that name right, was the first Aboriginal First Nations person to receive the Order of Merit and a whole bunch of other military decorations, and is considered one of the founding fathers of sniping. So not only does Canada have the longest confirmed sniper kill, but also has one of the founding fathers of what is considered modern marksmanship and sniping.
Yeah, and what I think is funny about sniping is like, that started off, hunting snipes, a bird that was from like really far away. And it was like British and French hunters that were doing it, like in Africa or some shit. Oh, yes, we're going sniping. We're going to do the long distance shooting. And then like North Americans were like, hey, what if we take that idea and then instead of shooting birds,
we shot people?
We, won a war doing it. And then everybody in Europe was like, no, we're still going to stand on line and march. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, you guys do that.
Okay, but tanks.
You guys do that.
Oh, so we mentioned before the show, I have a conspiracy theory for you about the military.
Yeah, what's up?
So the E4 mafia that may or may not exist.
Yeah.
We can either confirm or deny. The offshoot of the Canadian offshoot allegedly being the corporal mafia. Allegedly. Can neither confirm nor deny. It's just
allegedly.
My conspiracy theory is that these alleged corporations were created by either the senior enlisted or the officer corps of their respective militaries in order to promote hard work and discipline amongst the junior ranks.
Can you elaborate?
So corporals, privates, anyone lower than corporal in Canadian Armed Forces, that's corporal, private, trained, private recruit, private basic, they'll try and get out of taskings as much as you can. Same with E4s, right? E4 and below, they'll skate, they'll do whatever. But if the senior enlisted and the officers can somehow make you feel special, like what you're doing makes you special, then maybe they can motivate you more to do a task. So if your sergeant comes up to you and says, hey, you just go move that box from over there to over there, you're going to probably have some select words for him. If a sergeant comes up to a corporal and says, hey, corporal, get the corporal mafia together. We need to do some sketchy stuff and move and tactically acquire some stuff from over there. All of a sudden, the troops are motivated as hell. Right or wrong?
Yeah.
So my theory is one corporal got promoted to sergeant, was like, you know what? I can motivate my troops by making them think they're part of this organization and just use that ideology of the corporal and E4 mafia to just actually make it a thing.
Yeah, go ninja some shit. Like that's also one of the things that flourishes under the type of NCO that doesn't care how it's done. Just
as long as it's done.
Yeah. I'm not asking questions. I'm just giving you a task. I'm not telling you how to do it. Just giving you a task. I want no, just go do the thing.
Just make sure these boxes are here on time and we have enough bolts to fit in all the guns, and I don't care how it gets done.
Yeah.
Oh, I actually have a question for you. And
what's up?
Book writing.
Okay.
How difficult is it for you, anyways?
I mean, the hard part is putting your ass in a chair and writing. Also, I'm sorry, I have not read your short story yet. I haven't saved on my computer.
No problem.
And I will. I just haven't. Yeah, no. The hardest part is putting your ass in the chair and actually fucking writing. Because everybody's got an idea. Everyone's got a story they want to tell, right? And 99% of those stories never move past you're drunk in a bar and you're talking to your friends like, I got an idea. Somebody should write a movie about this, or somebody should write a story about this. And I was like, well, you should sit down and write that. Yeah, I should. And then they don't.
Mm-hmm.
The hard part is putting your ass in a chair and a pen in your hand or a keyboard in front of you. I mean, yeah, and sure, editing's a pain in the ass, but when you're editing, you already have the bulk of the thing written down. Excuse me. So yeah, and then marketing's also hard too. But story wise,
you're self-publishing.
Yeah, but fucking yeah, no, put your ass in a chair and write. That's the best advice I can fucking give anybody about writing is to actually fucking do it. And there's such a fucking wide range of writing you can do between poetry and then writing a fucking doctoral essay to writing a fucking story about some jerks just doing some random bullshit to high fantasy to sci-fi to romance to low tier fucking drama. It's dude, fucking don't worry about if you're good or not, just fucking do it. Man, how do I want to say this? Don't worry if it's good or not, because you're gonna make it good or better in polishing, or not in polishing, but in fucking in the edit. But you can't edit unless you write. You cannot polish your turd unless you take a big shit. You have to sit down and take that big shit first.
Can we get that on a t-shirt? You can't polish a turd unless you take a dump.
I mean, I can make it happen.
Please.
Yeah.
Now, the reason I asked about writing is because, I sent you the short story, and I don't know whether it's the tism of the military or just general boredom, but I wrote that short story based off a Dungeons and Dragons campaign that I'm playing, because nerd.
Well, yeah, me and Hollis were talking about that the other night. Dungeons and Dragons is a great fucking catalyst for fucking writing, because if you're doing the dungeon master thing, you kind of have to, it forces you to
create a story,
get some kinds of fucking storytelling involved. And if you're just playing it, then that gives you experience in oh, hey, this is a story I haven't heard before. Maybe we can do this kind of thing. Also, these other characters are saying and doing this. This might just be good fucking peanuts for the fucking elephant to
yeah.
I don't want to say steal characters, but I'm writing, I'll change their name. It'll be fun. But anyway, go on, sorry.
But yeah, so that's almost exactly what happened. So in my group, it was actually my buddy Ed who got me into Dungeons and Dragons, which is hilarious because this guy is sniper qualled, airborne qualled, reconnaissance qualled, a whole bunch of other qualifications that make him almost special forces. So the first day I did at the Rangers, he's like, "Hey, so what do you do?" I say to him, "Oh, I'm a really big nerd." He's like, "You ever played Dungeons and Dragons before?" And coming from this guy, he's like, blue belt in jiu-jitsu, years of kickboxing. I was like, "Nope."
No, but I'm not going to call that guy a nerd. So
exactly. So I did into Dungeons and Dragons, and I write this short story, and then I'm like, you know what? I bet I can make a role-playing game based off this short story. So now, it's either the tism of the military or just general boredom. I've created a TTRPG role-playing game, tabletop role-playing game based off of the gods of my Dungeons and Dragons campaign, because boredom.
Yeah, fucking, I mean, if you're not at work, what the fuck else are you doing? Like,
yeah.
I mean, especially like if you live on fucking whatever, and it's like, all right, well, I don't have to worry about fixing the roof of the fucking furnace or anything. What am I gonna do in my downtime? It's either gonna be this, or play video games,
or get drunk.
Yeah, or I can get drunk. But I don't know if I count the getting drunk one because you can multitask with that. Like you can overlap those, and then like fucking like there's other shit too, but like fucking. Like say like if you like working on cars or something, it's like, yeah, that's neat. Do you have work on car money? Because I don't.
No, I get paid not enough even to have more than one car to work on. So.
Yeah, it's already a pain in the ass enough working on the one I have, and I'm working on that so I can drive to fucking work. I would like a fucking Challenger. Don't have the money for that.
Boot. But I think how much do the American forces get paid?
So I'm out. I'm sure that it's changed a lot. And it depends on rank and how long you've been in, but like,
yeah,
fucking when I got in 2006, as a private, I was making about I think $800. Maybe it was $400. Yeah, no, I was making about $800. No, it was $400 paycheck, so $800 a month. And that was like after taxes and shit. And then when I got out, I'd been in for 12 years and I was a sergeant and I was making about $3,000. So, yeah.
So $3,000 a month?
Yeah.
For reference, I make that a month and I've been in for 6 years.
Yeah. And then what is it? Fucking, I think officers come in making about $5,000 a month.
$5,000?
Yeah. That's day one lieutenant.
So there's that much of a pay discrepancy between the officer corps.
Oh yeah.
Jeez. And we wonder why the officer corps is so high and mighty in the States.
Well, fucking, it depends on where you're at and who you got. Like, fucking, I've had good officers that weren't prior enlisted, but like, I've only had one officer that was prior enlisted. For the most part, those dudes are all fucking good to go. The real problem though is when you run into guys that went to the Naval Academy. Like those guys are all like. I don't want to say all. I have a caveat or an exception at the end of this, but for the most part, those dudes are like, if the bully from like an '80s fucking high school movie got to be in charge of people, like to the points where I had one guy, he was a captain, and fucking he was good to go. Fucking he was hot shit, fucking killer all the way across, and then like. One day I noticed his fucking Naval Academy ring, and I was like, "Hey, sir, did you go to Annapolis?" He's like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Okay, I don't want you to take this the wrong way, but you're not a fucking shithead." And he's like, "Yeah." What are you getting at? I'm just saying, I've never ran into that before. Normally Annapolis dudes are fucking tools. Like, thank you for not being a fucking douche canoe.
It's the same with that. So you guys have the Naval Academy, the Army Academy, and the Air Force Academy, right?
So we got the Naval Academy, and a lot of Marines go there too. And then we have West Point, which is the Army, and then we have the Air Force Academy at Colorado Springs, and then we also have a thing called the Citadel, which is not like on paper a military academy thing, but it's set up very military academy. And if you join the military after you go there, they treat it as if you went to a military academy. Fun fact about that though is it's so in our Civil War, the first battle was the Battle of Fort Sumter, where they say Confederate forces shot a bunch of shit at this fucking island, but it wasn't Confederate forces, it was Citadel students that were like, no, we're gonna go blow up Fort Sumter. So I mean it was a bunch of drunk 16-year-olds shooting cannons at an island.
This is just a whole bunch of university students who were like, you know what would be funny if we started a civil war.
Yeah, more or less.
But yeah, back to the university thing. We have only one military officer academy, and that's the Royal Military College, because we're still I don't know what we call it, but we have the Queen, and then our own Parliament.
Not anymore. You don't. You get that Charles asshole.
King, yes, we have the royal family.
Yeah.
Hey, it was the Queen when I joined. It's the King now. Whatever.
That's how you know. Hey, actually, real quick, we what's your guys' version of Old Corps? Like in the Marines, we got a thing called the Old Corps, which is back in my day. Back when things were good, back in the Old Corps. So, like in your version, back to the Old Corps, we had a Queen, motherfucker.
Yeah,
get your good king having ass out of here.
Literally, you can tell when someone enlisted by who they swore their allegiance to. And the joke was, that's not the king's. It's not you guys will say it's the sergeant major's grass. No, that's the Queen's grass or the king's grass. So if someone continuously says for the Queen, or when you're doing push-ups or something, or like. So just the vernacular, but yeah. And there was a big uproar, not uproar, but like a big thing after the Queen passed away, just because they were like, oh, we have to change all our ranks now because all of our ranks use the Queen's.
Yeah, you have a different crown, right?
Yeah, we use the Queen's crown for our warrants and our majors. Majors get tiny crowns, warrants get just big crowns.
Yeah,
but there's a big thing because it's like, oh no, now we're going to have to spend thousands of dollars of our military budget that's shrinking ever more to, change the ranks of everyone. But then enough people said, no, that's a stupid idea to where now we just kept the Queen's ranks.
Oh, nice. Well, I mean, I'm not sure how much you're allowed to say, but your king's a goon. Your Queen was all right.
I miss Liz. She was.
Yeah.
I'll still do a push-up for Liz every time I do push-ups. There's always one for the Queen.
Yeah, no, it's funny because my wife watches that show, The Crown, and I come in every once in a while. I'm like, who's that? And it's like, oh yeah, that's Charles. I'm like, that dude is way too attractive to be playing Charles, but yeah, good for them. Good for them.
Modern Charles, not that attractive. I'll say that right now.
Well, I mean, he's also like 90,000 years old, so I mean.
True. The royal family in general, I have no problem with. Certain members of the royal family, I think, are very interesting. Now, I'll say that. Plus, it doesn't help that I think, half the royal families in Europe are related by cousinry.
No, dude, it's fucking super close. Like fucking, I forget who your king was in World War I, but like, him and the Tsar of Russia were fucking. Like, yeah, they're first cousins, but they were fucking identical, like to the point to where they'd go to parties and the English king would be wearing Russian clothes or the Russian uniform, and the Tsar would be wearing the English uniform, and no one would fucking know the difference. And then like they got their accents down or their like the first name enough to where it's like they do like not Prince and Pauper shit, but like, hey, we're gonna do the fucking clothing switch thing. Yeah.
Well, what's the difference between a royal wedding and a wedding in Alabama?
There's less family in Alabama.
No, the amount of silver cutlerware and how drunk the violinist is.
No. I think there's a way to refine that because, like, in Alabama, fucking you have a violinist there, but I mean, he's doing it fiddle style.
True.
So there's a way to work that joke, and like. Yeah, no, it could be the silver cutlery and like one has a fiddleist and one has a violinist. Or fiddler? Fiddler. One's got a fiddler, the other one's got a violinist.
Diller.
Yeah.
Are you supposed to be drinking water straight from the bull?
Oh, that's it. That's the other guy you played. You played Bama. You played Bama in the second book. That's it.
Yes.
Yeah, and Travis played the Fonz, so that was a...
Yes, and... that actually reminds me of a story.
Yeah.
Because when you're drinking the water from the bull, it gets the lips frozen on the thing. Yeah. If you haven't read that part of the book too, sorry, spoilers, but also
fucking spoilers for the whole second book. It's all on YouTube. You should have heard it by now if you know.
Or read the books because reading is good for those.
Yes, it's good for your brain.
I hear, but yeah. So going back to when I was in doing the cold weather operator stuff, part of that was I had to do a demonstration of how to survive in cold if you fall in a frozen lake, which was so much fun. So they tie all these ropes to me so they can pull me out of the lake, and then they cut a huge hole in the water, and they say, "Okay, Torpal, guess what you're doing? Jumping in that hole in negative freezing water. You're just jump in there." So I was like, "Fine, jump in." Instantly have the breath sucked down my lungs and went into shock. So then I got out of the water and all that stuff. They warmed me up, and then I go to take a sip of my canteen that had been inside this warm tent. So my canteen's warm, but I'm still freezing cold. And for like 5 seconds, my canteen was just frozen to my lips. And instantly, when I read that scene for the audiobook, I was like, "Oh, hey, this is fiction played on reality here. What the hell?"
No, I actually stole that buddy from my buddy Steve. He was in Norway, I think, doing cold weather training, and someone got their lips stuck in the bowl, and someone else pissed on their face to get him off of it. And I was like, I'm stealing that story, man. I'm sorry. Like, he's like, "Yeah, go for it, dude."
Well, okay, so for those who don't know, who are watching the show, Canada is both French and English, because we have Quebec.
Quebec.
Great fishing in Quebec.
I'd imagine there's a lot of water up there.
For all 2 people that watch Letterkenny, so there's a French infantry regiment called the Vendus.
What's that mean in real speak?
So Vendus is the anglicized version of V2, which is literally just 22.
Oh, that's a lot less exciting than I thought it was going to be, but I mean, it also makes sense.
Yeah, no, they're French. They're not supposed to be creative. Granted, they're French Canadian. You love lover Cheddar Lenny. Thank you. I'm glad someone gets these.
Well, I mean, fucking French Canadian's a step up from French because, like, and I'm sorry, English people, like, I love you if you're watching this, Ryan or Diane or fucking anybody, like, I love you to death, but like all the good Europeans came over here. Yeah, valid. But so speaking of water buffaloes, the Vendus, I think it was the Vendus. So they were on this field exercise, and some random private, they were on an exercise, I think, with the RCR, which is another infantry unit. Some random private got the idea, you know what? I'm in this infantry unit. We hate that infantry unit because they're not us. I'm going to go take a dump in their water buffalo. So, okay.
He goes, sees this water buffalo, says, that must be the RCR water buffalo. So he goes, takes a dump in this water buffalo. It wasn't the RCR, it was the Vendu water buffalo. So now the Vendus, for the rest of the exercise, have no potable water. And there was a 3-week exercise, and they were a weekend.
Dickheads.
And that's what we think about the French. Actually, I shouldn't say that. The French contingent of the Canadian military is amazing, but some of them are more stupid than others.
That sounds just like fucking Lance Corporal jackassery to me.
Yeah. Also, I swear every Frenchman that I've met, that I've been on course with or served with, either they have done. Do you know what snus is or snuff?
I know what snuff is.
Snus is the snorted.
Yeah.
So I swear every Frenchman in the Canadian Armed Forces has either done a ton of or currently does a boatload of snus. And it's only the French. I've never seen like someone from Alberta come up to you and say, "Hey, you want some snus?" No, it's only the Frenchman. I swear. It's the weirdest thing.
I mean, we got the same thing with like chewing tobacco because, like, dudes from the city will smoke and shit, but then they'll get out to the field and there'll be some Marine with a fucking thing of fucking grizzly in his fucking cheek. He's like, what the fuck is that? Chewing tobacco? You can chew it? Yeah. Do you want some? Here, take like half the can. You're gonna need half the can, buddy. Also, for those of you that have never chewed, it doesn't matter how much take, even if it's like that much the first time, you're probably gonna puke. So it's fun to trick people into taking like half the can, and it's worth wasting the fucking tobacco to watch them hurl. Like we were where the fuck were we? We're out in California. We had this thing every year called Iron Fist, where the Japanese come over and we teach them how to take islands. Anyway, they had something similar to that, except for like it was kind of like instead of chewing tobacco, it'd be more like chewing like a Nicorette patch. where like it wasn't tobacco, it was just some like weird chemical.
Oh, kind of like the Zins and stuff that everyone's doing now.
Yeah, kind of like that, except for like it's more of like a natural fucking herb. It's a different leaf, like not as much.
It's not tobacco, but it has the same effect.
Yeah, but the Japanese dudes were like, "Hey, what is that?" They come up to my sergeant, and he's like, "It's chewing tobacco, dude. You want some?" And dude's trying to be hard, so he grabs like almost the entire fucking thing of the can, puts it in his mouth. He's like, "Chew one, chew two," turns fucking blue, keels over, and then like everyone's fucking laughing at him. And I don't know what the dude's rank was, but I think he was like an NCO. But like all the junior fucking Japanese fucking dudes were like howling because I assumed this is like their tough guy. And then just like off.
I remember there was this one big country. This guy was probably 6'4", jacked as all hell, and he was on my basic. And there's a few differences between Canadian military basic training and American basic training. One of them is we're allowed to have nicotine on our basic training.
Nice.
I don't know. Are you guys allowed to like smoke and dip and stuff on basic or no?
In basic, not that I'm aware of. Like, I mean, I know they've changed a lot of shit, and I know that they used to be able to in the 70s and 80s, and I got a story about that. But while I was in, no.
Okay, but yeah, at least on the reserve side, because I'm a reservist. You're allowed to dip and smoke and stuff when you're on basic training. So we had this big country boy, Hook, also a combat engineer. He was, he'd always be chewing Red Man Chew, which is the leaves of tobacco that you just put in your lip. That's the only time I ever have tried chewing tobacco and never will try chewing tobacco since. So he's like, in class, I'd always see in classes we were having or doing drill, he'd always have a lip in. So I was like, yeah, what's that? He's like, oh, it's chewing tobacco. Do you want to try some? I, at that point, never tried nicotine in my life, never had anything, never smoked, nothing. So it's like, sure, this will be fun. New experiences.
I'm an adult.
New experiences. This will be great. So I put in a lip, and then we go into this class. 5 minutes into the class, sergeant in the front of the class is like, Private Haskell, you all right? I was like, yes, Sergeant. I was. I don't remember this. I didn't see it because
was not all right.
But I was pale white, apparently. 3 minutes after that, I immediately stood up and threw up into a trash can. Sergeant said, Corporal Haskell, what do you have in your lip right now? I said, chewing tobacco, Sergeant. He said, have you ever tried chewing tobacco before? I was like, no, Sergeant. He says, well, clearly. Take it out. Who gave Corporal Haskell chewing tobacco? Hook raises his hand. Well, Private Hook, guess who's writing a 3-paragraph essay about the negative effects of chewing tobacco. And just because Corporal Haskell threw up and interrupted my lecture, you all get to do push-ups.
Nice. Fucking Travis in the comments saying, I went through a can of Grizzly every 4 days, but Red Man is still 100% putting me on my ass. You do not start with Red Man. That is a grown man business.
It is. And there's another one in Siberia that I've heard about. Again, never tried because I only tried chewing tobacco the one time, but apparently it's stronger than Red Man.
I haven't had that. We had another one called Mail Pouch, and it's not as popular as Red Man is, but and I'd be interested to know if they do this in Canada. But there was an advertisement campaign in the fucking 20s or 30s to get for Mail Pouch tobacco, and what they would do is they'd go find farmers that had like a barn that needed painted, and they're like, hey, we'll paint your barn for free. You just got to let us paint, chew Red Man or chew fucking Mail Pouch on the side of your barn. So it used to be a lot more prevalent, but you still find them every once in a while where there's an old barn that's just got Mail Pouch fucking painted on the side of it.
I don't think I've ever seen one of those, just because I don't know like what the tobacco advertising laws are down in the States, but up in Canada now, they aren't even allowed to have like any branding. It just has to say the name of the cigarettes or dip or whatever tobacco product.
Yeah.
And so they aren't even allowed to have like the designs like the Marlboro Man or Camels can't have camel design. It literally just says the name and that's brown packaging, and they'll have like the huge pictures with everything. It's like smoking will cause lung cancer and stuff like that, with like huge disgusting
right.
tongues and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think we're one of the few countries that doesn't have that still. Because like fucking, you'd get them from fucking like cigarettes from Asia or some shit, and they got like an aborted fetus or like dissected lungs or some shit like on the package, and it's like, the fuck is this about?
Yeah. Well, the only place that you can get like actual cigarettes with like advertising and stuff on them now is on the reserves, First Nations reserves. And that's where most of the guys who smoke and dip and stuff will go, because you can't get flavored tobacco anymore in Canada either.
Really?
Yeah, you can only get, if you dip, I don't know if they have any flavors anymore, but if you dip, you can only go onto the First Nations reserve because they're technically self-governed. So you can only get flavored dip on there. And then same with like menthol cigarettes. You can't get menthol cigarettes at a gas station. You have to go to a First Nations reserve. Same with any type of flavored like snus or anything like that. So it's, yeah.
Yeah, no, because I know they got rid of a lot of flavored stuff here. I heard they're trying to get rid of menthols, but I'm not sure. But also, this is fucking exciting. Apparently, YouTube is recommending my fucking live streams to people who don't follow me. That's neat. Dude, I got like 400 followers. Fucking, it's cool. YouTube's doing that.
Sweet.
Yeah.
And I don't think you pay for any of that. So
I don't fucking pay a goddamn dime. It's neat they're fucking doing that. I'm excited.
So, Gavin, I have choice words for you. I can't jack you up over the internet because
he's probably
just lame. But
he's probably busy blowing his boyfriend.
Yeah, I've got a nice. Tell you what, come up to Canada. We'll have a nice barbecue, and I've got some nice Canadian sausages that we can fry for you.
What do you guys do with your sausages?
What do you think? Maple, obviously.
Man, fuck, I don't know. I'm asking questions.
It's maple, literally. So, Alberta beef. Always know Alberta beef, because Alberta is where we get all of our cows from. And then you just make sausages, and then typically, because we're Canadian, we put maple in everything.
Yeah.
You'll get the maple syrup put in there, and then just process it like a sausage. But they're actually, my cousin lives down in Detroit. God rest his soul. Like Detroit proper. And he brought up like Michelin made sausages one time, and we put them next to the Canadian sausages. Canadian sausages 2 times bigger than American sausages, and you can take that to the bank.
I mean, doesn't that depend on where you buy them though?
Yeah, probably. I'm sure there's some country boy down in like Michigan or something. Not Michigan. What's the state that's known for like country boys that's not Texas?
Most of them besides Florida, New York, and California.
All right. Well, Texas actually is known for barbecue, right?
Yeah.
So I'm sure if you go down to Texas, they probably have bigger sausages than Canadian ones. But from my very limited point of expertise, it is this man's personal experience that Canadians have bitter and sweeter sausages than Americans.
Yeah, hold on. Where was it? Yeah, Siberia snus is from Iceland. It's 43 milligrams, whereas most dip is 13. Yeah, dude, that's fucking crack. And you can't have real guns or tobacco. What the fuck? Just leave Canada. Barbecues are religion in Texas, and we do have bigger sausages than you. Okay, all right. Well, see, the thing though is like over here, we got the maple sausages, but we also got like chorizo and Polish sausage and German sausage and just like I don't know, regular sausage, which is just like unseasoned fucking like pig guts and the fucking what do you call the fucking like condom that goes around the sausage? Like, you know what I'm talking about?
I know, sausage condom. That's what I always call it.
The real question though is, when you make your sausage, do you cook it up a little bit first and then slice it up, or do you like squeeze it out of the condom fucking raw and like
cook it a little first? Well, actually, it depends where you are. In Quebec and in Quebec, Ontario, and out east, so like the Newfies and stuff, we cook it a little and then cook a little, chop it up, and then cook it more. Out in like the prairies and stuff, they do their own thing because again, prairies are weird. Yeah. And now if you go out east, wherever the islands are, so like the Newfies, Nova Scotia, all those places, they'll have their sausages with like fish and crabs and stuff because that's what they do out there.
Yeah. Also, like, just real quick, and this is just for me, and no spoilers or anything, but did you like what I did with the fucking Nova Scotians in the last books?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Just
I applaud you, sir.
We'll talk about that after the show. Just wanted to,
Yeah. No spoilers, but yes, I applaud you, sir.
All right. Goddamn French Canadians.
I'm surprised you actually knew that, because most people think that only Quebec is the French-speaking, because Quebec is primarily the French-speaking province of Canada. But I'm surprised you knew that there was French Canadians in Nova Scotia as well. So
well. Here's to go back to your earlier question about writing. Google is a thing, and if you don't know what the fuck you're talking about, maybe spend some time on Google before you start writing.
True. Yeah. The internet exists and is your friend.
Like I don't blame people for saying dumb shit if the book was published more than 30 years ago, because like you're kind of at the mercy of the information that comes to you. But like you could go to a library and look some stuff up, but you're not going to have someone make a snarky comment about like, oh yeah, no, fucking Mount St. Helena is one of the biggest mountains in the Pacific Northwest. That's also where fucking Bigfoot lives. Did you know that? Like, you're not going to get that in a book. You know, that's something somebody's going to say on the internet when you're Googling this shit.
But yeah. Just on Travis's point about guns as well, we have guns in Canada. And we can open, fun fact, you can open carry in Canada.
Yeah, but it's not on the news. So, like, who cares? Like,
we can open carry in Canada. We just can't open carry a loaded gun. But you can have, like, ammunition on you and a magazine on you. It just can't be in the gun.
Yeah, and like fucking the few Canadians I've worked with, fucking like they'd have their phones, but hey, check this out, and then it's like them hunting or like their fucking gun cabinet or some shit. It's like, I thought you weren't allowed to have guns, and they're all like, what the fuck does that mean?
Oh yeah, we're allowed to have guns. Now the only thing is so recently there was a new gun law passed where unless you have a specific type of license, you're not allowed to own a handgun.
Which that part's fucking stupid. But
yeah, so we have 3 types of.
Actually, no, that actually does make a little bit more sense. And hear me out on this. All right, so you got some countries like Russia, right, where you're allowed to have a handgun, but you're not allowed to have a fucking rifle, which makes sense for them because, like, you kind of do need rifles if you're going to fight the government. Like, you're not going to do that with pistols. Sorry. And they're worried about their government getting overthrown, so it makes sense that they do that. However, my big kickback on all the gun control arguments, in the States anyway, is like somebody, does a mass shooting with a pistol, and then they try to outlaw AR-15s for some reason, and it's like, but that's not what people are using. They're using pistols. And while I don't agree with the fucking your handguns getting fucking swiped away from you, it's like I can see the train of logic on that.
Yeah, and I mean, most Canadians who own guns are using them for like either going to the range, which is what I use mine for, or hunting again, what I use mine for,
or wildlife, because like bears.
Yeah, like if you live out in the country, you will have coyotes and you will have wolves, and they will get into your chicken coop. So sometimes you gotta schwack a coyote with your 22 or like something. So yeah,
and coyotes are smart fuckers too. So
they are.
Dude, no, they're fucking assholes. So fucking there's one time I stumbled out of the barracks. It's on the weekend. It's like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. I am pissed house, right? And I see this fucking coyote limping around. It's got its leg up. It's like whimpering. It's like, oh, I'm hurt. It's like scattering around. And I'm like, I'm gonna go catch that coyote. So I chase this fucking coyote, right? And
like a dead Marine.
Yeah, and it runs into the parking garage, and then I get it into a corner, and then like it hides in the corner, and then it puts its hand down, and then like velociraptors, like 15 other fucking coyotes start coming out from under cars, and I'm like, okay, all right, I'm gonna crawl in the back of this dude's truck and just wait for y'all to leave, because you got me. You guys won. You guys won.
They are monstrous. Like, we have coyotes on base here that just because they're so used to like gunfire because we have our ranges here. We've got the EOD, not the EOD still, but like ammunition disposals. So they're used to like gunfire and explosions. So even if we're not allowed to, but if you were to like shoot at a coyote on base, again, not allowed to because can't discharge a firearm in a city. But if we were to fire it, they would just be like, what?
Who the fuck do you think you are? Get that shit out of here.
Exactly. It's the same with like the deers and turkeys we have on base too. There'll be like an explosion going off on base, and the turkey you'll drive by, see a turkey, you'll just. But yeah.
You ever drink wild turkey?
You
ever drink wild turkey?
The whiskey, yeah.
Yeah, I like that. That's good.
I
don't drink a lot, but I like it. Yeah.
So I quit drinking a little while back, beginning of this year, but
all right.
Yeah, health reasons. But
yeah.
Back when I was drinking, top three whiskeys in this Canadian's opinion are okay. First of all, Crown Royal, great Canadian whiskey, not the best Canadian whiskey. That title goes to, I think, Lot 40, which is a rye made by J.P. Weiser's that is phenomenal.
Yeah,
if you ever want to have a good Canadian whiskey, try Lot 40.
Yeah, no, I probably I don't like rye much. I mean, yeah, that's a personal preference thing, though.
Well, do you like bourbon?
Yeah, half of them.
Okay, if you get Lot 40 Dark Barrel, it's pretty much a bourbon.
Okay, all right.
And then Jameson, obviously, best go-to Irish whiskey. Proper 12 can eat just all the bags.
Yeah, have you had Writer's Tears?
Yes, I have.
That's a good Irish whiskey.
It is. It is.
Like my go-to used to be Jameson, and my go-to is not Writer's Tears because it's $50 a fucking bottle, but it's like, all right, like once every 6 months I'm gonna go buy one of these and just, hey, look what I got.
But plus I'm pretty sure you just make those yourself every time you write. So
yeah. I just get the JMO and be like,
exactly. But yeah, I think as far as reliable, affordable whiskeys, Lot 40, Jameson, and Buffalo Trace, I think they're probably top.
Buffalo Trace is really fucking good.
It is.
Yeah, I get
especially
a
at price point too.
Yeah, fucking yeah, no, that shit's good. Fucking, it's got a little bit of fucking tang to it.
Yeah.
But American beer will never measure up to Canadian beer. I'll give you that Molson is trash. I'll give you that. But Canadian beer is much superior to American beer.
Have you ever seen a movie called Canadian Bacon?
With John Candy, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So for those of you at home, there's a scene in it. It's one of the opening scenes, but they're up in Canada and they're at a hockey game, and they're in the fucking bleachers, and they're doing the opening national anthem fucking thing, and the main characters just keep talking, and everyone around them just keeps doing the thing, like, hey man, the national anthem's playing, whatever, and they just go off and just insult the fuck out of Canada. And John Candy's Canadian too, right?
He is, yeah.
Yeah, which kind of adds to it. And then, like, at the end of it, like right when they start playing fucking and it's like okay for them to be loud, somebody's like, yeah, and their beer sucks. And then this stadium, like, you could hear a pin drop. And then, like, you see them charging the main characters, and then it cuts to, like, them getting stuck in a fucking cop car. And they're like, what did I do? All he said was their beer sucks. And then the cops start beating the shit out of them.
There's two things Canadians are proud of: our syrup and our beer. Yeah. Mostly because, American beer tastes like I urinated into a can and sold it to you. But
depends on what you get. Although I will say on syrup, my opinion on syrup is kind of on the same lines as like honey, to where it's like if you get the like corporate processed stuff, it's like all right, but like the best stuff, like you get it in the bottle within like fucking 5 miles of whatever tree they fucking pulled it out of.
100%. I'm sure, like, if you go down to Wisconsin, that's your syrup place, right?
I don't know where our syrup place is. I think Canada's our syrup place.
Fair.
Wisconsin's
cheese. Sorry.
Wisconsin cheese. Yeah. Wisconsin's also the bad beer place. Fucking Colorado's a good beer place.
I thought Colorado was your weed place.
Yeah, they excel at mind-altering substances. But yeah, like Vermont and Pennsylvania both have like really good fucking syrup. But I think that has a lot to do with the Amish and them like, what? No, we're just fucking. I mean, not fucking. we're pulling it straight out of the trees. Okay, man, fucking cool. I got Amish jizz, but it's good on my fucking waffles, so I don't give a shit.
Can we talk about the Amish and the Mormons for a sec?
Oh, we can talk about the Amish and the Mormons all goddamn night, man. Do you guys have Amish up there? You have to.
Because originally,
because they haven't done in Belize too. Like they're not like a. They got them down in South America too. Like that's not a fucking like Pennsylvania phenomenon. Like they're
no, because the Pennsylvania Dutch, or because they're pacifists and stuff, you know, because they're like very like you could beat a Mormon man to death and he wouldn't fight back.
Well, I don't know about Mormons. Fucking like.
Not Mormon, Amish and Mennonite. Yeah. Mennonite. Well, Mormons too. They're pacifists, but you could beat an Amish or a Mennonite man to death, one fight back. I respect that level of pacifism, but when the American War for Independence kicked off, all the Pennsylvania Dutch were like, "Nope, we're out of here." Fled to Canada.
Were they even Pennsylvania Dutch? Were they even Amish at that point, or were they just like the weird German dudes that?
They were just the weird German dudes that kind of started their own thing. But yeah, they just were like, "No, we don't want to fight." Bye, fled to Canada.
Yeah, no, that's weird because like I know they got them down south too, and I know they kind of like started over here after they're coming over. And I don't know why we call them Pennsylvania Dutch because like they're Germans, not Dutch. But I mean, Dutch are just like weird Germans. So
with more blonde hair and blue eyes and
yeah. No, and that's one of my fucking like hilarious fucking things too is like fucking the Dutch are really fucking bad about this. Not as bad as the French are about this, but like they're like, oh my god, yeah, no, we totally didn't collaborate with the Germans the whole time. Like, no. They came and grabbed the Jews. We totally just didn't give them up as soon as the Germans showed up. No. We're on the American, Canadian, and British side of this war. Oh, my God.
We don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Just have some of our meatballs and move on. Mm-hmm. We didn't do anything. Do not look into this Finnish side of World War II.
Yeah, no, I think it's really funny that, like, in the last, what year is it? 20. In the last, like, 130 fucking years, like, now, hold on. We're going to back this up a little bit. So we're going to go back to, let's see, we got Napoleon. Okay, so if you go back to, like, I don't know, the 14 fucking hundreds and onward, right? Like, mainland Europe has some fucking problem, and it gets fixed by the British who don't fucking live on the goddamn continent coming over and fixing it up until, like, I don't know, the late 1800s when that became Europe fucking itself up, and then the British and North Americans coming over and stop it. Yeah. Fuckers.
And the only reason that Canada got involved in the First World War at all is because Britain was like, hey, we know you're independent, but you're still ours. Get over here and help us.
Was Canada independent by then?
Canada was independent, but we were still part of the we still are part of the Commonwealth, but the British Parliament and the British Royal Family kind of had more of a say in our Parliament than they do now.
Okay, all right. You guys weaned them off since then.
Yeah, well, World War I was really like Canada got its independence 100 years after you guys.
Yeah,
1876.
Okay, so like almost to the day.
Yeah. So literally 100 years, 3 days less of 100 years after you guys we got our independence.
Oh, so it was like in July too.
July 1st. Yeah.
Fuck. All right.
Also, really convenient. It's also my wife's birthday, so really easy to remember. But yeah, so we got our independence July 1st, 1876, but then we weren't really considered like a fully independent country until after World War I, partially because of the amount of fighting that we actually did and the amount of people that we lost in World War I.
Yeah. Because
we lost more than the British, or at least equal to the British, if not more.
Yeah.
Killed way more of the enemy than the British.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's because the Geneva Suggestion fucking checklist you guys brought over.
Yeah. And then, yeah. So then World War I was really the catalyst of, okay, Canada, you do your own thing. Britain will leave you alone now.
Yeah. And when did Newfoundland start being part of Canada, though? That was like the 50s, right?
Yeah, 1950s was... I want to say early 1930s, actually, because they were part of... Because the Newfoundland Regiment was actually part of Canadian Armed Forces who stormed... Mm-hmm. Was it Juno? Whichever beach Canada stormed on D-Day.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys had Juno or Sword. I know it was one of those two, but I'm not sure.
Sword was Sword was British. Juno was Canada.
Okay, all right.
And Canada got the furthest of any nation on D-Day. Up yours, America. You got more beaches. We got the farthest.
That's only because you had Scotty.
Valid. You just told him the Enterprise.
Beat me up. I'll beam over there. Fuck you. I don't know why I made him Scottish there, but
well, I think he was.
Well, he was Scottish in the show. He was Canadian in real life.
Well, he probably just stole the Newfie accent.
Yeah.
Because if you hear a Newfoundlander talk, they sound Scottish and Irish.
Yeah, but don't they have their own like Creole up there?
No, it's just like really bad English. Like if you hear a Newfie talk, it's be like, "Oh, hey there, boy, how are you now? Stay where you're at. I'll come over to there, boy."
Oh, so they're Welsh.
Pretty much, yeah. Oh, how are you now, there, boy? You'd like to see food delight there, boy. You'd like to crab there, boy. They call everyone boy. Boy is a gender neutral term in Newfoundland.
So like dude or bro.
Exactly. Oh, hey there, boy. Where are you from there, boy? You're from the States there, boy.
Yeah. That's fine.
Also, Newfies are probably the best drinkers in Canada, which by extension makes them the best drinkers in North America.
Well, I mean, that depends on what you mean by best. Like, you have to set a metric for that because, like, if it's the amount of alcohol you can drink, like, we kind of have to give that to Boston. But
no.
Hold on. But if we mean most alcohol you can drink and not be an asshole, that's where the metric changes.
Fair. Okay. So by that metric, then yes, Newfies are the best drinkers in North America. Now, I'm including Mexico in this without knowing much about Mexican drinking.
No, Mexicans can fucking drink. They don't do a lot of beer. It's all fucking tequila, but they drink tequila like we drink beer. So it's kind of like, and they eat the worm. So
yeah.
Well, and they do it when it's 120 degrees outside, man. Fucking, you ever drink when it's that fucking hot out? It's not. I mean, it can be fun, but you know.
Well, Newfies will drink outside when it's -20. So I mean,
but alcohol warms you up.
True.
They say, oh no, it actually just makes your body temperature colder, so you feel warmer. Do you know what the words "feel warmer" means? It means I'm warmer. Shit.
It's science. It works.
Yeah. Although fucking like, I don't know. Like I have a problem with that though. So like fucking this is a few years ago, but me and my wife went to a fucking party. We came home and I'm shit faced, right? And like I just like. I'm not going inside. The snow's warm. So I like start making an igloo around me. And by igloo, I mean, I'm just like pulling snow on me. And my wife's like, "You're going to fucking die. Go inside." I'm like, "No, it's warm." So she like drags me inside. I'm like, "But the snow is warm." No.
Actually, snow is a great insulator. And if you do make an igloo, you can actually survive up to a few weeks in there.
Yeah. Fucking, there's a couple fucking TikTok dudes I follow where they're like survivalists or whatever. And there's one that's always like, I don't know where the fuck he is, but it's legitimately like 15 fucking feet of snow. And he just like digs down into it and like makes a little fucking cave and then like makes a fire that's, you know, that fucking big, you know, melts the fucking sides of it. So it's ice, around it. And then it stays warm in his things. All right. So I don't want to go outside. It's fucking cold. No, I am not outside right now. I'm in my hut. And we're just gonna sit here and read for fucking the next 5 or 6 TikToks. I'll go outside in the morning. It's like, dude, it's like noon. What do you mean in the morning? Fuck.
But also, like, yeah, I get it. Because if you're building an igloo, it's probably -40 outside, and that can again eat all the bags.
Yeah.
Do you know what? Back on the Newfies. Do you know what getting screeched in is?
I do not.
So it's a Newfie tradition. If you want to become an honorary Newfoundland person, an honorary Newfie.
And you said getting screeched?
Screeched in, yes.
Screeched in. Okay. All right.
Yeah. So Newfoundland Newfies are such hard drinkers that they made their own type of rum. It's like 50% ABV.
Okay.
So in order to get screeched in, you take a shot of the screech rum. You say this toast. Say this toast. Something about may your big jib draw or something. I don't know. It's Newfie speak. Take the shot, and then you gotta kiss a fish.
Yeah, that sounds French.
It's Newfie, but yes.
Yeah.
And then
funny because like most people think of rum as like a warm weather drink.
No, if you drink enough Newfie Screech, you will be warm.
Well, I mean, that's obviously the fucking goal. Fucking fun fact about rum. It was originally called Kill Devil because it was originally a byproduct of making molasses in the Caribbean, and that was like the slave drink where it's like, oh yeah, this is technically alcohol. We're not drinking this, but you guys want it, y'all have fun with it. And then they slowly over a couple centuries turned Kill Devil into rum. And they called it Kill Devil because apparently it was so bad it would kill the devil if you drank it.
Sounds like the drink of choice for Marines.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's great. Fucking and then like the joke was because you got like the two big ones are like Sailor Jerry and Captain Morgan. And it's like somebody come over with a bottle of Sailor Jerry and some idiot would be like, well, what about Captain Morgan? It's like Captain Morgan is for fucking officers. We're not drinking that shit.
True. By the way, loving the new haircut, my man.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I get it cut like once a year or two. Like as soon as it starts being inconvenient, it's not because I hated having long hair. It's because I'm lazy.
Oh, by the way, do you want to hear some fun new things that have happened in the Canadian Armed Forces?
I'm interested.
So, a year after I joined in 2018, 2019 the beard regs came out so we could grow a beard.
I thought you guys could have beards for like there was guys I knew in like 20 fucking shit. This would have been like 2015. Fucking Canadian dudes that had beards down there.
They were doing the same trick that you guys do down in the States, where it's like, oh, I identify as Norse pagan or something.
Oh, okay, all right.
So
wait, wait, hold on. They let you get away with that? That's cool.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh yeah, they were much more compliant with religious accommodations. So they were just just a whole bunch of guys were doing that. So eventually, people were like, you know what? Just keep your beard well maintained, and anyone can grow a beard as soon as they have all of their qualifications to make it private.
That's fair too. Like, no, in boot camp you can't fucking have it, but like once you get to, I don't know what you guys call the fleet, but like,
yeah,
once you get to your unit,
once you get to your unit, you're allowed to grow a beard.
Yeah.
So, and it has to be like well maintained. You can't have it can't look unprofessional or anything.
Right. You can't be scraggly and patchy. Like, be a man, grow a fucking beard.
Exactly. So then 2020, because marijuana was legalized in Canada.
Yeah.
So then once it was legalized in Canada, they came out with a whole bunch of regulations, but now Canadian Armed Forces members, military, can smoke weed too. You can't smoke it before 8 hours before range, or 24 hours before flight, or 2 months before deployment.
That's fair. That's fair though.
Yeah, which is fair. And then 2 years ago, was it 2 years ago or 1 year? 1 or 2 years ago now, they completely changed the regs. So now we don't have to blouse our boots. Now
that one though, like I'm gonna be on because like that's there's like a fucking tactical advantage to that.
Yeah. Originally, it was only like the high-speed, low-grade guys that were able to not blouse their boots, but no one has to blouse the boots anymore unless you were ordered by your RSM, so Regimental Sergeant Major.
Okay, so it's like command discretion.
Yeah. Okay. Command discretion whether or not you have to blouse your boots.
There's going to be fucking 100 years from now, fucking they're going to talk about this one Canadian unit in World War III that was like the most badass fucking unit ever, and the way people identified them was they had the only fucking sergeant major that said you had to blouse your boots. And then it's like, oh yeah, most Canadians showed up and they're fucking, we called them the legs because their pants were down and no one gave a shit. But you saw anybody with the parachute pants, you don't engage.
But also, this is a part I like because I just showered, but I can grow really nice long hair. So now it's command discretion on how long your hair can be for males and females.
What, like to any length, or was like command discretion up to like 6 inches?
Any length.
Really?
Any length.
Okay.
Because originally, again, Norse pagans in the Canadian Forces were, or First Nations people, were saying, okay, we have to grow out our hair for religious purposes, and Sikhs as well. They had to grow out their hair for religious purposes, so they couldn't cut their hair. So then other guys were just saying, oh yeah, I'm Norse pagan, or
I'm First Nations or I'm Sikh, and then just not adhering to any of the religious tenets, but then just growing their hair out anyways because they wanted to. So then the army was like, you know what, if you're going to do that, we'll just let you.
Yeah, there was a study I read about I thought was really interesting. They took a bunch of, this is around World War II, and I think that these guys were Apache. I might be wrong about that, but either way, you know, there's some fucking natives.
They're Mohawk. Yeah, I know these guys. Yeah.
Yeah. And they had like long as fuck hair, and they ran them through all this fucking training, like, hey, like ranger shit, fucking training stuff, survival out in the fucking wilderness shit, you know, fucking go do your fucking shit. And they rock started.
Oh, yeah.
And they had them do it again after they shaved their heads, and they absolutely fucking sucked. And they let them grow their hair back out, and then like they were good at it again. And like that's one of those like animal instinct things where it's like, yeah, your hair is kind of there to protect you and keep you warm, but there are things you can feel with your hair. Like,
yeah,
like
if my hair gets stuck in the tree, I'm gonna realize that.
Well, I mean that, and like fucking like the way sound travels, like there might be some fucking sound waves that your ears can't hear, but like your hair,
you can feel it on like the tips of your hair and stuff,
like that kind of shit. Like the same reason, like, or like the same way that, like, you know, fucking cats and dogs use it. Like,
yeah,
most human beings don't know how to do that, but there are certain cultures that still know how to do that. Apache, Navajo, fucking not all Native Americans, but enough of them.
Yeah.
To where like it's still in their culture to be able to fucking use that kind of fucking shit. And it was just a real interesting fucking test or experiment, I guess.
And that's why I'm actually kind of glad that I'm working with the Rangers, because it's cool to learn that part of like the First Nations communities. Like they have a whole bunch of cool stuff in their like traditions and stuff like that that I had no idea existed before got in with the Rangers, and then I was like, oh wow, this is actually really dope.
Yeah.
And then back to the Canadian Reds. So then they modified the beard regulations as well. So now we can have, again, commander's discretion.
Yeah.
We can grow our beards out any length, which is awesome. And we can dye our hair any color we want. Again,
that part's interesting.
Yeah. Again, commander's discretion. So if someone dyes their hair like neon yellow and they're in an infantry unit, a commander can say, hey, you're going to Latvia in like 3 weeks and your hair's neon yellow. Change your hair or you're not going to Latvia.
Yeah, no, and like the way I think of it, and this would just be like if I was in charge, you know, what I would do type fucking thing would be like, yeah, you could have your hair or beard or whatever, but like on deployment, no, you're gonna be fucking clean shaven and your hair has to be this long, and that's just for, you know, deployment fucking shit. Like, no, you're on the job, you're fucking XYZ fucking whatever, and like because like the big thing with the beards came during World War I, and it was like hey, your gas mask can't fucking seal, you know, if you have a beard, but A, we got better gas masks than that now. But like B, as a secondary precaution, it's like, yeah, we are going into an area with a potential chemical fucking environment. No, shave your fucking face. And it's like at that point, it's like, okay, no, this is a fucking functional fucking thing. Got it. But
yeah,
dude, if you're just kicking around,
yeah. And I think that's why then they put in most of that. It was commander's discretion. So like, yeah, we can grow our beards out any length, but if your CO says, hey, World War III's kicked off, and your gas mask won't fit over your beard that's now, you know, foot long, swimming beard.
Yeah.
Then that's, I think, why they have that.
But yeah, and that's a functional thing. And then, like, that's also one of those things where, you know, you'd fucking hope that they'd understand that, or like the guy with the beard would understand. It's like, hey, look, this isn't a fucking look cool or fucking XYZ, whatever. This is a functional fucking decision that's being made, you know?
But again, I think the gas mask thing, like you said, we have newer gas masks, and we do see it. Every qualifying range I go on, we have to do gas mask shoots, and with the beard I have, I can easily just get a good seal within everything. So yeah, I think it just depends on the style of beard you have, honestly. But
I mean, also back in the day, though, fucking like half the gas masks were like, all right, so you're gonna take this rag, and then you're gonna piss in this rag, and then you're gonna put it on your face, and then you're like, why the fuck would I do that? And then you see someone dying of fucking mustard gas, and you're just like, all right, so do I need the mask or can I just piss in my face? Because like I'll drink piss right now if I don't have that shit happen to
me. Yeah. And another thing, actually, we can have any style of beard too. So sometimes I'll, you know, I'll trim my beard, but sometimes I'll mess it up. I'll cut here or wherever. So I've just literally shaved my beard into a goatee, and unless some higher authority comes down and says, Corporal Haskell, you look like a bag of hammers, I can just have that no problem, which is amazing because I am constantly messing up my shaving.
Yeah, no, fucking God, like, and that's the reason I have a beard. Like, it's not so much that I like the look. I mean, I do like the look. I just hate shaving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's why I drew mine too. Plus, wife likes it, so happy wife, happy life.
That is also a fucking plus. Yeah. That's like 5 extra minutes in the fucking morning. Like,
yeah. I mean, plus I feel like any man that like has a beard and then shaves immediately looks 10 years younger. Like with the beard, I look like 30. I've gotten 30 before, but when I shave, it's like, oh, you actually look like you're a 25-year-old.
Yeah, fucking weird how that whole facial hair thing works. Fucking that's the other thing though too is like, and maybe this is just the people I'm around, but I don't see a lot of bald people anymore. Like,
No.
they're just not around, and I think what it is because you remember 20 fucking years ago when people would be bald, but they'd have like a bunch of hair in the back.
Yeah.
They got rid of that, so they just shaved their head. And I don't think that when I look at somebody that has a completely shaven head, that it registers to me that they're bald.
Do you know Tony Hinchcliffe, the comedian?
Sounds familiar, but
he's been on Joe Rogan a few times. He does this show Kill Tony, which is where he just has a whole bunch of up and coming comedians on. And I was just watching some clips on TikTok the other day, and this one guy had a great bit about bald people. So it's like, so he says, you know how I can tell if your mama had it going on downstairs? If you've got good hair, that means your mama had it going on downstairs. I'm sorry, bald people. Your mama really disappointed your dad.
All right. No, my favorite one on that is like, and again, I have not seen this in fucking 20 or 30 years, but like, do you remember, or do they ever do this where like you go into somebody's house and all their furniture is covered in fucking like plastic so you don't ruin it?
Yep, my grandmother did that all the time.
Yeah, that's because she was a squirter.
I mean, I see where you're coming from.
And she saw people coming too, and that's why it's covered in plastic, so it didn't ruin the furniture.
Why does that make sense?
Probably for the same reason that like your grandma had fucking 14 siblings. Like people didn't have TV, so they had to do something else.
Yeah.
Like grandma, what'd you do for fun when you were my age? And she looks to all 40 of her fucking siblings. I don't know. We just hung out.
We hit the strings and we used the ball and twine to have fun.
We had this one trick where we got a stick and a hoop and we pushed it down the street. Yeah. You were pushing a ball and a hook down the street.
Yeah, there were hoops, all right, and sticks.
Yeah. Jesus Christ.
Man, is it just me, or do you think were people hornier back in like the 1800s, 1900s, but just wasn't talked about as much?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think it was probably about the same, but birth control didn't exist.
Yeah.
I mean, because like, fucking nowadays, you fucking like blow your load in your chick and it's like, oh, don't worry, we got plan B, or I was wearing a condom, or I was on the pill. Back in the day, it was like, all right, blew my load in my chick. What are we going to name it?
Yeah.
And then also in the fucking like, 1800s, early 1900s, you also had like big advances in medical technology. So like you didn't have 10 kids and 6 of them died in infancy or during childbirth. So it was like, all right, we're gonna have 10 kids and they're all gonna live.
Yeah. And again, back in the day, like if you were 1900s, most people were either, poor, especially in like the 30s and stuff, or worked on a farm. So it made sense to have like a boatload of kids.
Yeah, no, I've been out plowing all day. I'm done. I'm tired. I want to eat dinner and plow all night. Wait.
No, that makes sense. That tracks.
Yeah, tracks like a tick.
I would, sometimes I wish I was back in like the 30s or 40s, not because of World War II or anything like that, but just to see what the women were like back then. You know what I mean? Just see like, wow, just to see what their standard of beauty was. Because I feel like that'd be interesting.
Yeah, no, I don't feel like that'd be interesting. I mean, I think it'd be interesting to a point, and then after I bagged a fucking couple chicks, and it's like, oh, hey, what'd you say your name was again? Oh no. Oh fucking no. No, oh god,
no. I just know my wife and I would not be allowed to be married back then, but I knew.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess that kind of depends on where you are. I mean, fucking, or how much bullshit you're willing to deal with, because like, there's been interracial marriages for fucking ever. It's just your community sucks about it afterwards,
Yeah.
I mean, look at Thomas Jefferson. Like fucking, he had like 40 fucking black kids. Granted, it was all from banging his slaves, but
Yeah. You know what's funny to me? People constantly will just rag on like historical figures, but not realizing that they were all kind of terrible back then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no,
they did a lot of good stuff. Like the founding fathers of America and Canada made America and Canada, but they also owned slaves, which wasn't great.
Right. But the thing to remember about that, though, which I don't think gets brought into the fucking conversation enough, is that slavery was kind of like everyone on the planet fucking Earth did it, and then England got rid of it, and then I think you guys got rid of it when England got rid of it, and then we got rid of it.
Yeah, because we were still under the monarchy at the time.
Yeah, and then we got rid of it, and then everyone else kind of followed our lead. So I fucking hate the whole like, oh yeah, American had slaves, you're all terrible fucking argument, because like, well, everyone had slaves, and then we got rid of them.
Yeah.
You guys didn't do that until someone else invaded you and made you do it. So why don't you shut the fuck up?
Yeah. And in fact, there's still slavery today, and it's at the highest amounts that has ever been in history. So
yeah. Now, granted, it's not as bad as it used to be. Fucking goddamn the Arab slave traders, they did some fucking gnarly shit. Like, so they'd fucking take dudes from Africa, and like one of the big differences, and I'm not talking morality. I'm just talking like fucking, hey, dude, this fucking happened.
We obviously think
I'm not condoning anything.
Bad. Do not enslave people.
Yeah, do not have slaves. It's bad. But anyway, fucking like with the Atlantic slave trade, a lot of that was, we'd make, and by we, I mean, fucking, mostly the Dutch and the fucking English, but fucking whoever the fuck it was, they'd make an alliance with one of the tribes in West Africa, and then that tribe would go fucking capture another tribe and then sell that tribe to the slavers and ship them across wherever they fucking went. But in East Africa, what the Arabs would do is they'd go down and fucking like round them up like fucking Mad Max style, and then they'd fucking all the dudes they'd fucking castrate so they couldn't fucking breed, and then the women they'd fucking pretty much just throw into fucking harems. So like there's not like a black population in the Middle East like there is in fucking Europe and Asia, because like they'd castrate their slaves, and then if for whatever reason someone had a fucking kid with one of their slaves, they'd kill the fucking kid, and like they didn't allow them to breed. So like every slave there was like generation one fucking slave. There wasn't like generation two fucking shit.
Yeah, and also that's partially why, not completely, but partially why there's a darker population in the south of India, because the Arabic, the Mongols came down, invaded them, introduced the slave trade into southern India, and then they brought along people from Africa into India to work as their slaves, and then introduced that into the general population of India, which made them the darker population in the south.
Yeah, I never heard that before. I just always assumed that it was because they were closer to the tropics and got more sun.
Well, that's also part of it, yeah. But also in the north, the reason they have fairer skin is because that's where the British mostly populated, and British do what British do, and
yeah. Well, I mean, see, and that's interesting because like people forget about India a lot because Asia is China and Japan, not half the fucking planet.
Yeah,
like it is. And then like when you think about India, I don't know, you think about fucking like I don't know, like snake charmers, the Indiana Jones movie, and curry, and then you kind of like move on from it. But it's kind of a forgotten area in the culture, in the mind of the culture, right?
Yeah.
But like
fucking superpower, honestly.
Yeah. No, dude, like it's a fucking huge country. It's weird that we don't think about it as much as we do. Oh, but when we were in Afghanistan, there was a lot, and I mean a fucking lot of like redheaded fucking people with blue eyes, and it's like, hey, what did the Russians do when they were here?
You know what's also really interesting, and this is just coming from talking to my wife and stuff. There's a large divide between the northern and southern Indian population.
No, I'm not super familiar with it, but are they on different sides of the Indus River? Because I could see that being a fucking cultural divide.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. See, that makes sense to me.
Although like, they're all on the southern side of the Sindhu River, which is where Hinduism got its name.
Yeah,
because Hinduism isn't actually a religion. It's a group of amalgamated religions that eventually over time became one religion, and the people that followed Hinduism were just called the Sindhus that lived across the river from the Egyptians. So they were like, oh, who lives across that river? Oh, it's the Sindhus. Then when the Greeks took over, it was like, oh, we don't have an S, so we're not calling them the Hindus instead.
So would you mean kind of like similar to, and I know this is not a direct analogy, but like, I don't know, if you get like, I don't know, Orthodox people and Catholics and Baptists and Presbyterians, but like they all kind of think the same thing, but it's a little bit different. We're just going to call it Christianity, and you guys have fun with it.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. There's like, we all follow like these general same principles. We all have like, and that's the reason as well, Hinduism has like thousands of different gods.
Yeah.
It's like, we all follow these same general principles. We just don't have a name for a religion. So then, the Greeks came over and was like, oh, you're Hindus now. Oh, we have a name. Cool.
You know what's also funny about that is like the Stoics, like the ancient Greek philosophers, the Stoics, they didn't like really pop up until after Alexander's campaign in India. And, those dudes started going back home with all these like weird new ideas about like, hey, man, maybe you should live your life like this. And it's like, there's not really a lot of evidence for this, but it's kind of interesting they didn't start thinking about that until after Alexander sent his dudes back from fucking up northern India.
Yeah. And as well, India.
It's like, what'd you guys read there, buddy?
Huh. There's also a theory, and I haven't read much into this theory, but there's a theory that Jesus, when on his time on earth, so there's a period in the Bible,
Yeah, he's gone for like 11 or wait, no, because the story ends when he's like fucking 8 or 9 and doesn't show back up till he's 30, right?
30, yeah. So then the theory is that he went from what is now Israel and Palestine to northern India and Egypt, learned a whole bunch of philosophy from the religious people there, brought it back to what was then just the territory of Israel and Palestine, and was like, hey, this is how you should live your life. So Hindus will claim that Jesus was a reincarnation of Vishnu, who's their kind of numero uno god. Again, if there are any Hindus, I apologize, and my wife would probably yell at me if she heard me referring to him as that. But they were like, they see him as a reincarnation of Vishnu, who then just went to that part of the world and said, "This is how you live your life."
Yeah, and I got two things on that, and one of them is fucking. It reminded me to go back to avatars.
Mm-hmm.
Like Hindu avatars, because I got a fun thing about that. But another one is I took this philosophy class in college, and it's mostly like ancient Greek philosophy. But while we were looking over Marcus Aurelius' stuff, excuse me, and like the Stoics and shit, it was like, hey, so Greek philosophers had a lot of influence in the, what we call the Near East at that point. And if you like read Marcus Aurelius and then you read the Gospels, there's a lot of similar shit going on in the Stoics, and a lot of shit going on with the fucking Hindus from like way back in the day. So it's like, oh, hey, this is some weird and fun thing where all the cultures kind of come together. Because the thing about like Christianity is like everybody gets mad about it because like their, I don't know, parents were Baptists and told them they couldn't, I don't know, listen to heavy metal or fucking whatever the fuck they're mad about. But like if you look at it, if you look at the New Testament from a secular point of view, it's like, dude, there's actually like a lot of good fucking philosophy and useful advice in this.
100%, yeah.
Yeah. Like one of my favorites is the part where these dudes come up to Jesus and they're like, hey, that chick over there, she's dressed like a slut, it's giving me a hard on. You should go tell her to put clothes on. And Jesus is like, also like in my mind, I kind of like read Jesus like he's a fucking, I don't know, 80s surfer dude. So in my head, he's like, well, why don't you just like cut your eyes out, dude? That way you won't see her like that. And it's like, and then maybe control yourself, asshole.
Yeah, maybe he exercise some self-control and don't, you know. And then there's a story of like the one woman who's like, hey, we found this woman cheating on her husband. Jesus, what should we do with this woman? Can we kill her, Jesus? Can we kill her by throwing stones at her? And then Jesus is like, listen, man, we've all done some bad stuff. Anyone who hasn't done something bad, you can kill her. But if you have done something bad, don't kill her.
Yeah. And then fucking everybody just like mopes off because they're like, all right, fine, Christ.
I guess you're right. I'm not the greatest person. Fine.
Yeah, no, but going back to the fucking Avatar thing. So there is a interesting subsect of that, right? So I forget what their three main gods are, but you got Vishnu, Shiva, and Krishna. Yeah. Okay, but so you know how like Shiva is the god of death, but she's not the god of death as in like, you know, the way we think of it as the Grim Reaper. It's more like the god of death, like you have to burn the forest down before you can build a new forest. It's more like death,
more of a reincarnation than a
person. Yeah, like a circle of time fucking type shit. Like because like time is gonna win. I don't care who or fucking what the fuck you are, time's gonna win. More like death in that sense. But there's a subsect, and this is a great fucking deep dive if somebody wants to fucking take this, where the theory is that Adolf Hitler was an avatar of Shiva because Europe needed to be reborn, and the only way for Europe to be reborn was for it to get burnt to the fucking ground.
That's
yeah. Like there's like articles and books about this fucking, like even just the Wikipedia page on this is just like, what the fuck, man? I mean, like I see where you're coming from. I don't like it. It makes sense, but I don't like it.
I see. That's an interesting philosophical idea that I hope someone smarter than me, is able to like delve into that with less of a, you know, like, hey, this was Hitler and he was doing a good thing. Obviously, he wasn't doing a good thing.
No. But that's the other thing like, too. Like, this is beyond good and bad because, like, people like to judge God off of our fleshy, mortal fucking biases and fucking opinions, right? Like, it goes back to the whole like flood thing, right? It's like, oh yeah, God didn't like his creation, so he flooded it. And it's like, well, yeah, obviously we don't like that. No shit, we don't like that. That's fucked up. Like, we're the ones getting killed. Yeah, but like, you know, God, big G, lower G, fucking whichever fucking G God it is, like they're not operating on the same fucking rules.
They're not on the same plane as us.
Yeah,
because they are God.
Yeah, and like no shit, we don't like it, but
yeah, there's obviously, and speaking of floods, every culture, no matter whether it's the Mayans, Aztecs, the Sumerians, they all have a flood myth.
Yeah.
Which is then Smoke and Fairy Tales #1.
Yeah, no, and what's funny about that though too is like every culture has that, and up until recently, and even still kind of now, you know, the operating theory was that, you know, we had a bunch of fucking glaciers, the glaciers melted, and then like a bunch of land disappeared.
But in the Younger Dryas period,
yeah. But what's funny or interesting is like nowadays there's more and more evidence coming out that like originally we thought, hey, this took place over the course of I don't know, 500, 5,000 years, right?
Yeah.
And people just had to keep moving and moving and moving and moving. But there's more and more evidence coming out to where it's like, nah, dude, this all happened in an afternoon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, what caused it is still up in the air. Some people say that it was electrical storms, and some people say there's a meteor shower. You know,
yeah. Well, the meteor shower makes sense to me because there's a bunch of lakes in on the east coast of America and Canada that are actually impact craters, and something had to have exploded over the Atlantic and, you know, like pretty much shotgunned North America. And it's like, well, that would have shotgunned a thing, because if the planet was already warming up anyway, but like the way that would happen would be like it wouldn't all just like melt all at once. Like the top layer would fucking melt first. So you'd have these lakes on top of the glaciers. So imagine you've got a bowl full of water, and instead of like ceramic, it's ice, and the water is still water, and you shoot that with a shotgun, the water's just gonna fucking leave. And you know, we're talking about, you know, enough water to fucking flood, I don't know what, a third of the Earth's landmass at that time.
Well, have you ever heard the electric? I forget what it's called exactly, but there's a theory in opposition to gravity. More specifically, Einstein's theory of gravity, and essentially says that gravity is not the thing that's keeping us on Earth. It's electricity, and electric storms caused by the electricity that's keeping us on the ground are what caused the ice caps to melt in a day and caused a massive flood.
Well, I mean, it could be that, because like we also don't know what the fuck gravity is. Like we got some good ideas, but we also don't know what the fuck gravity actually is, because like from our working knowledge on it, fucking absolutely everything has an effect on gravity. So if there's a fucking planet circling a star in another fucking galaxy, our moon has a gravitational fucking effect on it.
Yeah, but how do we know what that how gravity goes that far? And
someone smarter than me would have to fucking answer that question for you.
I'm not a Scientologist, so I have no idea. But if you ever want to dive into theories like this, number one, listen to this show, because obviously we go down these rabbit holes.
What's choice?
And number two, there's a YouTube channel called The Y-Files. And I'm sorry for plugging YouTube channels other than yours.
Whatever. Yeah, no, fucking, I've heard of them. I haven't watched their stuff, though, I don't think.
Yeah. Oh, it's really interesting. It goes into, like, a whole bunch of theories about, like, Bigfoot, everything from, like, cryptids to, like, everything.
Yeah. Hey, Marsan, what's up, dude? Fucking, hey, if you're at work, well, good. Fucking put us in your earbuds. But no, Bigfoot. I don't know if I've gone off on Bigfoot recently or not, but if I have,
you did.
Sorry, listeners.
You did, because I remember it was the stream on Friday when you were talking to, I forget who you were talking to, but
I don't even know what day of the week is. What is today? Today's I was talking to Huber for that. Yeah, if you want my thoughts on Bigfoot, go watch my show with Kai Huber. But yeah, no, fucking Bigfoot could be out there.
Yeah. Same with Nessie. I think most plausible cryptids to exist are Bigfoot and Nessie.
Yeah, I'm not too. I mean, like, I know what the Loch Ness Monster is. I am on the side of that, though, where it's like, well, an animal that big, there need to be multiple of them.
Yeah. Well, there's also one supposedly out in BC, British Columbia, too. So
yeah. There's a couple of them in North America, because I know we got one in Minnesota and one in Wisconsin, and it would not surprise me at all if we had a couple in Canada.
Yeah. Plus, we don't know. The thing that really sells me on, like, the entire, creatures below the sea, like the Kraken and Nessie and all that stuff, is we know almost nothing about the sea. Like, we don't know anything that's down there. We know more about what's in the stars than what's underneath the water. So
no, that's not true. James Cameron is down there.
True, as well as a few billionaires.
Yeah. Jesus Christ, that was a fucking meme.
Oh, that was I felt so bad, because obviously, death is never funny, but at the same time,
but death is never funny is also a lie. Like, it can be fucking hilarious.
It can be funny, yeah. Like,
hey, we're going to give you $2 billion. Do you want to go down this submarine to see the Titanic? No, I'm good. You can't pay me enough. Like, there's a lot of stuff that'll even take $500 to do. I'm not going down in a submarine that could possibly kill me just to look at a ship. I'll watch the Titanic movie before I do that.
Yeah.
Like, I'll break my body for $70K a year. I've done that for the past 6 years now, but I won't. I'm good on, going down to submarine. There's a reason I didn't join the Navy.
Do you guys like have a Navy though? Like, I know you guys have one, but like,
yes, we do.
You guys like have a Navy?
We just don't have a lot. I shouldn't say that. We have a decent sized Navy. I actually worked with a Navy guy at the Rangers, but
although I guess that's a little unfair to say, just because like the American Navy is so fucking Leviathan that like you can't really enter it into the fucking conversation. Because like, if you want to say, hey, this country has a good Navy, well, is America in the conversation? Because if America is, then no, your country does not have a good Navy. But if you remove America from the conversation, then it's like, okay, well, this is what a good Navy's like. This is what a bad Navy's like. XYZ, whatever.
I'd say Canada has a decent Navy. Then I am biased, but I'd say Canada has a decent Navy. Yeah. We could use more up-to-date equipment, but that's neither here nor there.
Well, that's fucking everybody, though. I mean,
But our Air Force could use a few more planes, and our Army could use a few more guns, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, you guys got good fucking fighter jets, though.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we gave them to you, but, fucking, dude, the F-18 is fucking cool as shit.
Oh, hell yeah. Actually, I was at of all places, a hockey game, because that's where all Canadians meet.
No.
Diehard Leafs fan, by the way, if anyone watches the NHL. But I was at a hockey game and met a search and rescue tech and a F-18 pilot. They were not only some of the biggest alcoholics I've ever met in my life. Yeah. Great guys, but they can drink. But also, they had the best stories in the world.
Yeah. Fucking also, Rasan, I feel like with how large Bigfoot is, a community of them would need so much food they would leave undeniable evidence of their existence. All right, my thing on that is where Bigfoot's supposed to live, like the Pacific Northwest. That's underdeveloped as shit. All the locals say it's there, the natives say it's there, and the people who don't say it's there are people from like New York and Los Angeles that go up there for a week to like go Bigfoot hunting, and they're like, yeah, we didn't see it, not there. And I'm not saying Bigfoot does exist. I'm just saying it would not surprise me at the fuck all if we found evidence.
Also, Bigfoot could just exist in Canada as well. Have you seen how big Canada is? Second biggest country in the world, and the majority of it isn't populated by humans.
Yeah, like how many people live? How many Canadians are there? It's like what, 30 million?
30 million, yeah.
Yeah, and it's the second largest fucking country on the planet land-wise, and like 90% of y'all live like. Hold on, give me a second.
Most of us live in like southern, like. If you want,
like around Toronto,
like around Toronto, and then we've got some people in southern Quebec. It's all in the south, really, like southern Quebec, southern Ontario, and then we've got
like y'all guys have half of uninhabited Russia.
Yeah, pretty much. The majority of our population is in the southern part of the provinces. Granted, there are obviously crazy people that live, not crazy people, but like hard as nails people that live up north in like Yukon, Northwest Territory.
Good crazy.
Yeah, good crazy. Great crazy, because we need those type of people. But yeah, there's obviously people that live in north, but the majority of our population is southern provinces. And then BC, because in British Columbia it only ever rains.
Yeah, no, and then the other fucking thing though is like fucking like with Bigfoot evidence, like all the stuff that I see. It's like, oh yeah, this is Bigfoot evidence. It's like, yeah, it kind of seems like bullshit. I don't know. Is that Bigfoot hair? Oh, we're gonna go do the DNA test. Oh, it's a grizzly bear. Huh? Wouldn't have guessed that. Like that is. I'm not saying that there aren't crazy people, bad crazy people that you know fucking are attention seeking or like looking for clout or some shit. What I am saying though is for thousands of fucking years. In the fucking like Near East and Southern Europe and shit, there was stories about dudes going down to Africa and there'd be some like weird fucking ape man or some shit down there. And then in 1910, we discovered gorillas.
And I mean, even looking like religious texts, like in the Bible, there are stories, or in the Torah too. There's stories of like giants that are really hairy, and in like the Dead Sea Scrolls too, there's like giants, really hairy people. That kind of sounds like Bigfoot to me.
Yeah, and man, there's another thing with that though, and like with biblical fucking giants, it's like, yeah, I want to believe on that, right?
Yeah.
But also, fucking people back then were like 4'2".
Yeah.
So, like, somebody that ate meat growing up shows up, and he's like towering over them at like
someone
5'10".
my size, 5'8", whose average today is like,
yeah, that's a fucking giant. Like, dude, no, and something else that blew my mind the other day is like, the Philistines from the Bible.
Yeah.
Fucking I don't know how recent this fucking is, but like somebody was doing DNA tests on them. They're like, oh yeah, no, those dudes were all Greeks. And it's like, oh, okay, yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. A bunch of fucking like giant dudes from fucking, I don't know, 200 fucking miles away in Greece. They show up and they're all fucking like hairy and sweaty, and they got fucking like immaculately fucking kept beards and better technology and shit. It's like, yeah, dude, no, they're not some like weird fucking existential fucking threat. It's all right, we're looking at these Greeks through the eyes of fucking,
someone who's never seen
Judeans.
Yeah.
I mean,
quick thing, because I know you said our cap is 2 hours. What do you think the Ark of the Covenant was? Because I've heard conspiracy theories that it was actually just what it said in the Bible. The box that held the 10 Commandments. I've heard that it was a nuclear weapon that was activated by sound that sent out radiation that caused things to fall down. And I've heard that was an electrical weapon. What do you think?
Okay, I don't have a secular answer for that, but I do have I believe in God answer, and I think that that was a box that held the 10 Commandments, and anyone that touched it got fucking zapped by God. I mean, yeah, it might like the fucking nuclear reactor thing. So yeah, that's a neat idea. I don't know how much I believe that. What I do think's funny though is that how it disappeared, right?
Yeah,
like, no one knows where the fuck it is. Yeah, it disappeared after the fucking Romans fucking tore down the temple, and there's a fucking carving in Rome on one of the fucking arcs. It's still there. It's when Emperor Titus came back after sacking fucking Israel or Judea or whatever it was called at the time. And in the carving, there's two dudes holding the Ark of the Covenant. So as far as I'm concerned, what happened to it? The Romans brought it back to Rome, melted it down to gold, and did whatever the fuck else with it. And like, yeah, sure, yeah, it got buried under the sands, or aliens took it, or God brought it back. But it's like, nah, the Romans have a carving of them bringing it back. The Romans it's probably that.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, since we're about at the fucking 2 hours, do you got anything you want to say to the
look more into the Canadian Rangers because they're pretty cool. Can I plug a brand really quick that I really like?
So what?
Can I plug a brand really quick?
Yeah, go for it, dude.
All OK. They are a Canadian veteran-owned company. They 20% of all the proceeds from All OK go towards supporting Canadian veteran mental health. So I think that's pretty cool. And if you use code John15 at checkout, you get 15% off all your orders.
Oh, well, hey, fucking there you go, dude.
Yeah, and they ship to the States too. So
fucking even better.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hey, thanks for coming on. Thanks for voicing fucking God, who the fuck did you voice? You did Bama, you did Merksky. Fuck, you did a few other people. You did one of the docs. Fucking.
I did. Yeah. I thought I did 2 docs. I can't remember.
Yeah,
I got TBI. I can't remember everything.
Yeah, I don't fucking know. But yeah, no. Thanks for coming on. Thank you for fucking voicing, and then we'll talk to you again in August, I think, for the third.
Whenever
book?
The Ivy parts start rolling out on down.
Yeah. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, y'all have a good night. Fucking Travis and Merson, and who else is in the comments? Oh, and M. Thank you for showing up. Gavin, I don't know who the fuck you are, but you were mad that I was in your fucking recommendations. Thank you for showing up. I hope that your boyfriend likes your summer sausage. All right.
And if you ever want to come up and try some Canadian maple sausage, I'll happily barbecue some for you.
He'll give you a syrup.